Good morning and welcome to all my small choice theory people. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I hope it was very neat, satisfying for you. Hope you had a really fun-filled weekend. So we're back today and we're on day 16 of choice theory with you guys. Can you believe that? And I mean, I know that you're learning a lot about choice theory, but do you know we have a lot of adult people that are learning about choice theory as well? And it's wonderful because you're all learning together. So we're just delighted to be back on here with you. And so what are we going to do today? So we're on day 16 and I had to think about how I was going to teach the next concept to you. I hope you're going to enjoy it. I've never taught choice theory to people who were so small before, so it's been challenging to me. And really it's in teaching that we learn, isn't it? That when we go and we express to somebody else what we're after learning, then we almost relearn it. So I've had a wonderful opportunity over those last 15 days to relearn what I know about choice theory with you guys. So I want to say a big thank you. So happy Monday. It's Monday morning and we're all still at home, aren't we? So today I want to bring my little friend. I'm going to invite you on a journey with me today. And this journey is a journey inside of our own mind. Do you remember when I was teaching you about the basic need of survival, and I was saying to you that I really like my brain. My brain is a quality word picture to me. I hope you're getting to understand a lot more about how your brain works, because when we understand what's happening and how we're working under that bonnet, I think we're able to make much more effective choices for ourselves, and living life well is about making good choices. So I thought I'd bring this morning and I'd show you this. Wait till you see this. Bill Glasser, when he created this theory many years ago, came up with like a pattern, a chart of how he's seen the brain. And here we are. Yep. Do you remember I spoke to you about the signals in here? And we have the valuing filters, how pictures, we all see pictures differently. And then we measure them all. We have a comparing place inside in our brain. We measure them. Are they quality for us or not? So I thought I'd show you this. And when I seen it first, I went, really? Well, the brain doesn't really look like this. But this was William Glasser's way of describing it to us. And how I can really describe this to Mammy and Daddy is the good old-fashioned immersion. We all remember the immersion. I think there was many of us sitting down for a good night out, totally enjoying ourselves, and we said, oh God, no, did I leave the immersion on? I don't know what it is about Irish people and immersions, but I know I was grew up on that with my mother as well. Turn the immersion off. So the brain is a little bit like that. And really we might have been sitting somewhere going, oh my God, did I turn the immersion off? Nothing like an airport, to be at the airport and to remind yourself, did I turn the immersion off? So for all of that worry that we had about the immersion, really we shouldn't have worried at all, because the immersion had a thermostat. And somewhere like here in the brain, do you see the total behaviours? Our behaviours are our thermostat. So we know when we're running a signal of frustration, a signal of, yeah, I'm comfortable, I'm okay with that, don't care here, this way or that way. But we recognise this and we know when we're running a pleasurable signal. So I'm going to go into this a little bit more. So what we're looking at today is total behaviour. And I find this fascinating. I just loved when I learned about this, because it helped me to see that actually I'm fully in control of my life. Do you remember we began on day one, we were talking about nobody can make us do anything. And when we understand what's happening here in our mind, and we understand, see that thermostat, all it is a signal. It just gives us a signal. We're off balance. It's going to regulate itself again. Do you remember the day of my birthday I was telling you about how I would have loved balloons, but I didn't have balloons. So what did I go and get? Exactly. So the fact that we didn't have balloons, it actually made me get creative. It made me come up with other ideas. And here's what I wanted, remember? Yeah, we got balloons. And I thought about this afterwards. I thought, oops, didn't expect that. But wouldn't that be a great way to do our needs, our survival, our love and belonging, our power, our freedom, and our fun, each on a finger. So I want you to think about this for a minute. I brought a little friend back to say hello to you today, one of our little Choice family. And it's little baby Choice. She's sweet, isn't she? Imagine when baby Choice was born. She needed to be fed, didn't she? And she needed to be picked up and held. And she needed someone to play with her. But she couldn't talk. And if she wanted her rattle, she couldn't get out of the pram and go and walk and get her rattle because she couldn't walk yet. So how did she meet her needs? She couldn't walk and she couldn't talk. She couldn't go and pick up something and bring it back for herself. She couldn't even feed herself. Mom or Dad had to feed her. So how did little baby Choice meet her needs? Is she very creative? What do you think she would have done to let Mammy know that she was hungry? What signal? So she'd have been hungry, running a red frustration. And in order for her to regulate herself, to get her back into the pleasurable, to get a pleasurable signal, what would baby Choice have done to get Mammy's attention? Yeah, you have it. She cried. She let it cry out. And you know how genius she was? She's only a tiny little thing this size. And you know how genius she was? That she had a couple of cries. And one of those cries said, pick me up. One of them said, feed me. One of them said, change me. And she couldn't even talk. So aren't we very, very clever? So then we grow up and we learn how to talk. So if we want a biscuit, we learn how to ask for a biscuit. Sometimes we could still cry. We could go back to the old behaviours of just crying. But when we understand choice theory, we know, in fact, there's better ways to meet our needs. And that's what brings us on today to total behaviour. So, are you creative? Would you think you're creative? What do you think being creative means? Yeah, that you can sing, that you can dance. I heard somebody else say that you could draw pictures. That's one way of being creative. But the kind of creativity I'm talking about today is how creative our minds can be. I mean, wasn't that pretty creative the day of my birthday cake to get a glove, which you can't blow up now because I've just popped it, and make a balloon out of it. So every minute of the day we can be running a frustration. But knowing choice theory, we know, well, let's see what other ideas we can come up with to meet our needs. So I spoke about total behaviour. I invited you on a journey with me. I'm going to go on a journey with me. And I'm going to show you how total behaviour works. So when we say from the minute we're born, so just like baby choice, from the minute we're born until the minute we die, all we do is create. And when baby choice learned to speak, she said, "Mommy, I'm thirsty." Stop and think of the things that you do every day to meet your needs. Do you remember on Friday I was trying to write the fun need down? And my marker didn't work. In that moment, it ran frustration signal. And how did I get back to the pleasurable signal? by saying to you, which it's not that important to me, let's work it out together about the fun need. So every minute of the day, we are creating new ways of meeting our 5 basic needs. So on Friday, when I was saying to you guys, oh, my markers have to run now, well, do you know what I did today? I got 2 markers. So I ran a frustration with that on Friday. And knowing I ran a frustration, I want to make sure that that doesn't happen again. So when I sat down today to chat with you, I said, I'm going to make sure I bring 2 markers with me so that I can stay in the yellow even if 1 marker doesn't work. So had that not happened to me on Friday, I wouldn't even have come up with thinking about bringing 2 markers with me today. So there's never a mistake. There's just opportunities to improve. And everything we do is the best that we can do in that moment. And when we find better ways, then we use better ways. So total behaviour. From the minute we're born until the minute we die, just like baby choice, all we do is behave. I want you to think about when you started to ride your bike and you were a bit wobbly at first, and then you got your balance, and then you were able to go with 1 hand. You're getting the picture? So keep your hands on the handlebars. Sorry, Mum and Dad. Keep your hands on the handlebars. So we're always creating. We are highly creative human beings. So when we hear the word creative, we think, oh, it's can I dance, can I sing, can I paint pictures? That's only one part of creativity. But having a creative mind is a wonderful, wonderful thing to have. It means that we'll always be able to meet our needs. So I want to show you this today. Broken down the total behaviour for you. So what we're doing, what we're thinking, what we're feeling, and our physiology. And remember our physiology, just like the need for survival, that's when the physical body, it's a physical sensation. So here's the best way I can describe. If I said to you now, can you feel sad for me? Can you? Can you feel happy for me? So a lot of the time people say, I'm just feeling sad. See down here in our feeling? I'm just feeling sad. And I'd say, what is it that you're feeling sad about? And they say, Norah, I'm just feeling sad. But I want to show you today that you don't just feel sad all on its own. So let's say yesterday I felt a little bit sad. My feeling was a little bit sad. But that feeling didn't just happen all of its own. I had to go in and think, what was I thinking when I had that feeling? And what I was thinking was, I miss my sons. I'd love to see them today and have Sunday lunch with them. What was I doing? I was cooking my own lunch. And as I was cooking my lunch, it was bringing up memories of sharing Sunday lunch with my sons. So I was cooking my lunch. My thinking was, I'd love to be sharing my lunch with my sons. My feeling was I was feeling sad. So what do you think my physiology was like when I was feeling sad? Would I show you? Because the body physically takes on what we're feeling. Knowing choice theory, I knew that that feeling came around because of what I was doing and what I was thinking. So I knew that for me to change this feeling and therefore to change the physiology, that I had to change one of these 2 components. There's 4 components: our doing, our thinking, our feeling, our physiology. And because I know choice theory, I knew that it's quite okay to feel sad. There's no problem whatsoever in having a sad feeling. But I don't want to stay sad. I don't believe anyone really wants to stay sad. But when we know choice theory, we know we can change it. So if my feeling was sad, what could I change? Or what would I need to do to change my feeling? Wouldn't I have to change what I was doing? or I would have to change what I was thinking. So what I did was I had a face call with my two sons. I cooked my dinner and I sat at the table and I phoned my two sons and I said, you're not with me, but I'm sharing my lunch with you. And we had a good giggle. So my doing was I made a FaceTime. My thinking was I get to eat my lunch and I get to see my sons. Now what do you think my feeling was? My feeling was happy. And what do you think my physiology was? Well, it was kind of like it is now. I felt happy, and you could see on my body that I felt happy. So a lot of the times people say, I just feel sad and I can't do anything about it, or I just feel angry and I can't do anything about it, or I just feel frustrated and that's the way I feel. And what I say to people, well, that isn't true. And what you have is a feeling. If you change the doing and change the thinking, so you have to change one of these two to generate to change the feeling. And when we change the feeling, the physiology changes too. So it's just like that thermostat and the immersion. We need never have sweated about it. It was doing quite okay. It was going to take care of itself. So when something happens to us and we don't like what happens, we send a signal, and the signal is that we feel highly frustrated. But we're very intelligent human beings. Remember what I said, much smarter than any computer anyone can make, and our brain can fix this. So when we understand, we change our doing and we change our thinking, then the feeling will change. And as a result, our physiology will change. So, are you in control of your life? You better believe it. So, do you remember the journey? So, the total behaviour is a collection of the four wheels. The doing and the thinking are the front two wheels of the car. And the feeling and the physiology are the back two wheels of the car. Now I want to ask you, you go for a drive with mum and dad and your family. Do you drive in reverse? We only drive in reverse if we're trying to get out of a parking spot. But what if we drove through the world in reverse the whole time? Do you think we could meet with an accident? Me too. We couldn't see where we were going. So it makes sense to drive our car front ways. So the doing and the thinking are like the front two wheels of the car. And the feeling and the physiology are the back two wheels of the car. So where you drive these two wheels, your two front wheels, the back two wheels have to follow, haven't they? The doing and the thinking drive the feeling and the physiology. So here's your task for the day. I want you to notice, how many times do you go into this red? What happens? Maybe you went to the press for a bag of crisps and your favourite crisps aren't there. And you're what could you change in your doing and your thinking that would change that feeling of frustration? Maybe your doing could be, maybe you could go and find mum and ask mum, are there any other crisps, or when will we get the other crisps? Or maybe you'll think to yourself, well, it's mum and dad are doing a good job getting out to the shop, so we don't have the crisps I want today, but maybe I can say to mum, when you're doing the shopping on Monday or Tuesday or whatever day, would there be any chance you'd get those crisps that I'd like? Can you imagine what would happen with your feeling then? You'd feel happier. And your physiology, you'd be light. You'd be energised and bright and not all caught up in a ball. So, how do we move ourselves today? Because every minute of the day, we're getting signals that are frustrating to us. Life just cannot always go the way we want it to go. Sure it can't, guys. If it did, well, be good, but it just doesn't happen that way. But what is wonderful is that when it doesn't go the way we want it to go, that we have a brain and we're going to use it. That we're not baby choice. We don't just lie in the pram and cry, hoping that the world will look after us. We get up and we make choices and we make life work for us, you think? So here's what I'm going to invite you to do. Today, watch when your brain gives you a frustration signal. And that is what it feels like. It feels like someone's just annoying you. Just stop, stop, stop. But you tell yourself, if this is going to stop, I have to make it stop. And because I'm a control system, just like that aversion, it's going to regulate itself again. And what can I do to help me regulate myself again? What can I do or think differently to change my feeling and therefore my physiology? And that will move me back into the yellow, into a pleasurable feeling. So pay attention to it today, because most times this is going on in the background. We're not even thinking about it. Aren't we extraordinary? Aren't we just extraordinary? So here's to happy choices today. Go make better choices. So if your feeling is a frustrating feeling, look at what you're doing and what you're thinking, what you could do and think to change the feeling and therefore change the physiology and bring us back into this lovely place. See how lovely that feels? We're just giving it a little stroke on the cheek, a little tiny stroke on the cheek instead of annoying our head. So stop wrecking your own head. So good choices, happy choices, and really have fun with it. Let's see what journey you can drive this on today. And I'll see you back here at 7 o'clock this evening. Happy Monday, happy and welcome to day 16. Well done, guys. Dying to see you later. Have fun with this one today. See you later.